Hello everyone and welcome back to Paper Peony. I'm Kimberly Jones and I'm an independent demonstrator for Stampin' Up. I am going to be doing my second sample using the Trusty Tools. This happens to be a gift card holder. So it's a toolbox that extends all the way up and then you will put your gift card right here in this little pocket. So this is our gift card holder. Now you can use it for more than just Father's Day. And because it is past Father's Day, we will be using a different stamp set for our sentiment here that I've embossed. And we're going to be using the stamp set The Right Words. This is a cling stamp set and it has really wonderful sentiments in it. Happy birthday, sending good vibes, thinking of you, I miss you already. So this is a very universal stamp set for all the basic occasions that you would send a card for. That is found on my online exclusives in the shop products of my website. Okay, so let's get started. The tools that are in here happen to come from a paper that we had from Celebration a year ago. And actually, it might have been 2 celebrations ago. But what I'm going to tell you is you can actually use the Trusty Tools stamp set and stamp these tools like we did in the previous video, or in the next video. The next video I'm doing the paintbrush, but you can stamp the hammer and the pliers and the tape measure and the pencil and die cut the nuts and bolts and still get the same effect with the stamp set and the die set. Okay, so let's get started. I am not going to use the Poppy Parade like I did on this one. I'm going to use a different color. This is the Azure Afternoon. And this is going to be a different take on a toolbox. That way you can compare if you like the red or the blue. Okay, so this piece here is it's a 12 by 12 sheet of cardstock because you need the length, the 12-inch length. Okay, so this is 4 3/4 wide by 12 inches long, scored at 4 and scored at 8. And then you're going to fold it mountain and valley because you want it to flip up like that. Okay, so for the sake of the video, I went ahead and cut all my silver strips. This is our silver metallic that we have. And I cut these little strips to make, obviously look like drawers on a toolbox. And so what we're going to do, I have all of these already pre-cut into the top tier, the middle, and the bottom. And so as I go along these, I will tell you how wide and long each one needs to be. Okay, so on the sides, these are 1 line shy of a 1/2 inch. So it's it's 1 dash on your cutting blade, one dash shy of a 1/2 inch, and then you're going to score it down the middle. So you can use a score tool, or you can use our paper trimmer score and go down the center and score each one of those. Okay, now on my original, I just did this and glued it all the way down and then folded it and creased the sides here to give me my score lines. You can also cut these at 4 inches each and then just glue them down at 4 inches. But we are going to try doing this. For the sake of the video, we're just going to do it like I did the original. Okay, so just go really light on your glue so you don't get a lot of glue marks everywhere. And you're just going to kind of go all the way to that right edge. And with this being liquid glue, you're able to reposition it if you have a mess up. But you also need to keep in mind that it's going to take just a few seconds for it to dry. So there's perks and cons to your glue taking a few seconds to dry into a permanent position. Okay, you're just going to go up and down both sides like so. Okay, now we're going to start at the bottom and work our way up. The bottom has your gift card holder, and this happens to be a piece of the Azure Afternoon cardstock, and this bottom is 2 2/8 by 4 inches. We're going to use tear and tape for this. You can use liquid glue, but I just kind of wanted to go down a little bit on the sides You don't want to go right all the way to the tip top with it because you have to be able to slide your card in. If you took the glue all the way up to the top, like right here, then you'd have a problem getting your gift card in there. So just keep that in mind when you do this. And I'm just going to go ahead and pull my tape up before I lay that last piece down, because I went a little shy on that. Then you can come in and put another piece if you need to. Right there. Okay, and then you're ready to just glue this down. And I kind of just position this where I wanted it. You want to go flush to the bottom and then press down each one of those sides and that bottom to make sure that tape adheres. And you're going to leave it alone for a little bit because you want it to adhere really, really nice before being able to put a card in there. Okay, and then the 3 strips that I have on this bottom piece, these are a 1/4 inch. All of these are going to be a 1/4 of an inch wide. Okay, so find a 1/4 inch on your trimmer or your score or your paper trimmer and cut a 1/4 of an inch. And then each one of these is going to be 4 inches long. So 1/2 by 4 inches, okay? So you're just gonna take this in and glue these down really nice. And you're only gonna glue that top part of that pocket. And then come in and do 2 more. And these can be different heights. I did not, because you're gonna put one right there at that score line on that second piece. So I kind of went down a little bit on that. If you're familiar with drawers at all, you'll know that they are all different widths. I could have gone a little bit wider on that or longer on that. Let's do that one. Okay. Okay, now if they're not, I thought I went longer here, but I'm just going to use a silver uniball pen and kind of touch up those edges. So it's not so obvious. But just remember when you cut these strips, you might want to go just a little bit over the 4. Okay, so now we're going up to the second one. We have a pocket that we're going to put some tools in. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to do the center piece first. This is a 1/4 of an inch, a little bit over 4 inches. And I'm just going to place this over here. Making sure, yep, that's exactly where I want it, okay? Okay, and then you're going to take some dimensionals and you're going to just kind of pop or elevate this pocket up because you're going to put some tools in there and they're going to look like they're stuffed in it. So just kind of from the bottom, you might want to leave a little bit of the top bare because when you go to put the tools in, you don't want them to be stopped by a dimensional. So see how I left some of that open right there? That way when we put the tools in there, they're not going to get stopped. Okay, and then I just kind of went all the way to the bottom on that score line with this pocket, making sure that it will fold okay. It will fold okay with that there. And so let's go ahead and score that because of that silver line. I didn't do that when we glued the silvers. Okay, so that way, because we want that crease line right there. Okay, so now let's continue with our pockets or our drawers. Okay, so this one here is going to go straight across, and this one that's measuring the pocket. Okay, so the pocket is 1.5 by 2 inches. And then the strips is going to be 1/4 of an inch wide by 2, let's see here. I want to say, hold on. I thought I had this measured. Oh, okay. It is 1.5 by 1/4 of an inch. So 1.5. So it's going to be the width of the pocket. And you're going to do 4 of these. 4 of these in the same length. Because you're going to go down here at the bottom and do this bottom. And then you're going to do 2 at the top. Wherever you line it at the top is going to be the line of the left side as well. So keep that in mind when you go to glue these down. Okay, and I'm just going to go up here to the top like so. Okay. Now, after you get that done, then you're going to come over on the other side and even it up on the other side. So keep in mind these are 1/4 of an inch wide, okay? And then you're going to do 2 2/8 on this one, on the length, okay? And we have 4 of these as well. So just try to line them up with that line. And this is why this glue is perfect for this, because you have a few seconds to line it up like you want it, or like it needs to be. Okay, and then last but not least, we have one more. And just bring that up and line it up with that other one. Getting as straight as you can because you have just a couple seconds before it dries completely. Now we're down to this top layer. And see, if you have like a little bit hanging off, now would be the time after you folded it to cut that off or snip it off. Okay? All right, so now we're gonna do the top part. And the top part is the faux pocket, and then the faux drawer, and then the greeting. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to bring in the pieces for the top, and this one is, keep in mind all these silver strips are 1/4 of an inch wide. Okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll glue down this bottom one, and you're going to want a little over 4 inches as well on this one. Just go to that bottom, making sure that you do not touch the score line or go over the score line, because then you're going to have a problem when it folds. Okay, and then let's go ahead and do our pocket, because you're going to align the pocket. The pocket is on dimensions as well. And again, keep in mind you are going to have tools hanging out of the tops. You definitely do not want dimensions right there at the top where you can't stuff in your tools. And I'm using bits and pieces. I'm using scrap pieces to my dimensions, as you can see. These are not these little perfect little hexagons that you get on your sheets. The dimensions come 300 a pack, 100 per sheet. And they're little hexagons, and you can use the center, the side, or whatever. Do not waste them. So you can go along the side and just cut from the strips, just like that. Okay, and I am going to come in and do the sides a little bit, because you definitely want it to be adhered. Okay, so take your sticky off of, or the backing off of your dimensions. My fingers are sticky because of the glue, so I'm trying to do this quick. Okay, and then so what you're going to do after this, and let me tuck that in because I do not want that to show. You're going to kind of go like a little bit shy of the middle there, like that. And then you're going to glue a border, a silver border, on the top and bottom of that drawer. So a silver line. silver line. And then last but not least, your last line, or last strip. And you can go as far up or far down as you want on that. Okay, so now we have our toolbox assembled. So now we just need to stuff our tools. Now these tools came from a piece of designer series paper that we had from Celebration a couple years ago. But like I said, you can get the Trusty Tools bundle, the stamp set, and then you're good to go. You can stamp them and die cut them out. Okay, so I did on some of these use dimensions because I wanted them to kind of look like they're coming out of the drawer. I'm using minis on these tools because of the width of the tools. And if you've seen my previous videos, you'll know that I am very, very picky about placement of dimensions. You do not want to leave gaps because if you do, then it will sag over time and it won't look as good as it did when you made it. So because it's the Azure Afternoon, I'm going to use the yellow, and then I'm going to use the red on this one. Okay, I love this little leveler, so we're going to put the leveler in here too. It's nice and bright. Okay. Okay, you can even that out by putting that up there like that. And then we can put the hammer there also. So let's do that. Let's put the hammer up here. The yellow's bright enough that the brown looks good with it. Okay, and there you have that one. Okay, now we're going to come in. This leveler thing looks really cool, and you know what? I haven't used this, but it kind of looks good hanging off the pocket like that. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to put some dimensions right here on the wide part and just let it hang. And you can also secure it more by just putting a tab of glue on those loose spots. But I think once you stick the dimensions on there, you can just very easily just kind of put that up there like that, which is kind of cute. Okay, and over time, as you're folding this down and up, it's going to do what it needs to do. And I don't like it there. I'm going to have it kind of a little bit more of an angle. Yeah, kind of like that. Kind of sticking out a little bit. And because of that, I need to kind of glue that down. Okay, so there's that. And then I have a wrench for down here. And I just glue this flat because of all of the dimension that's going to be on the top part as it's folded. So just kind of lay that down where you want it and put that there. Now on this one, part of the dies is nuts and bolts. And so we can do that, or we can kind of glue out. That's going to be at the bottom of the toolbox. That won't look right. Okay, so let's go ahead and do our saying, and then we'll come back to doing the bolts if we have time. Okay, so on this is just a strip of Azure Afternoon. I'm going to bring in my embossing buddy, kind of just go over that a little bit. I've got the happy birthday already mounted. I'm going to just stamp that in the center so I have control of where I'm going to cut it afterward. Okay, and then you're going to bring in silver embossing powder. Now I have trays, and I do have my embossing folders in trays, but if you run out of trays, you can always use a coffee filter because it's perfect. If you're constantly using your powder to keep from having to put it in the jar every single use, it's so much more convenient to do it like this. because then when you're ready to put it back in the jar, you can just fold this up, and then it's easy to put back in the jar. Okay, so I'm going to put this over to the side so I don't get powder blown everywhere once I put my embossing gun on this. Okay, and then you're going to just bring in your embossing gun. And I always warm my hands with this embossing gun. And then just come in and let this do its work. It's going to turn really, really shiny when it's done. And as you can see, it's done. Okay, so there is my happy birthday. And so then I'm going to just bring in my paper snips, and I'm just going to cut the ends off like so. And then I'm going to bring in some more dimensionals, and I'm just going to put that all the way around, or like 3 of them, one in the center and one on each end, so we don't have any sagging going on. Okay, and then we're ready to put this in the very center of our top right there. Okay, now if you want, we can go ahead and do the nuts and bolts. It's a simple little die. This is one of the dies that's in the Trusty Tools bundle. And I can bring in my mini cut and emboss machine. Let me get my plates. You're going to use the 1 and both of the 2s, which happen to be the glass plates. And then a scrap piece of gray. Let me find some gray. And you know what? Since I don't have gray, we'll just use some silver, because I have silver right here. Nuts and bolts are silver anyway. Okay, so bring that in here like that, and then just put your die on top, sandwich that in, and then just run it through. This size is perfect for like if you travel a lot or go to friends' houses or do classes. It's a really small size to be able to put in your bag to carry with you. So we have a mini, and then we have the original, which happens to be a bigger machine. This will only go with 3-inch die cuts. The other one you can cut anything in, so keep that in mind. Okay, so I'm bringing my card back and my little green glue. Now, I will tell you that with little dies like this, the perfect way to do this would be to use our adhesive sheets, because then you can just put your paper on the adhesive sheet, and it will act as a sticker, and you don't have to use glue, and you won't have to worry about a mess. So, which I love, but okay, and last but not least, the very last one. And we'll put that one over here, kind of put the screw in the center. Okay, so then we have our card, the main gist of our card assembled, and it's just going to fold down like so. And over time, it will stay flatter. Okay, now the last thing we're going to do is we're going to mount this on a piece of Daffodil Delight. This is 5 1/4 by 4 1/4, and you're just going to take this and you're going to put glue on the back side of this. And the yellow is going to act as your base. Okay, so just kind of center that on there. And then just press it down to adhere it. Okay. All right, and then you have that part. Now, for whoever's getting this, if you want to put a message on the back side, then just cut a piece of basic white and put it on the back. This is 4 by 5. It's just 1/4 of an inch shy of the yellow. And then you have that. And that is going to be what you write your message on. So All right, so there you have it, guys. This is the toolbox card, and it's also a gift card holder. I would love to see what you think about this. If you want to leave me a comment on the bottom. My website will be linked below, so you can go and shop these products. If you don't have a demonstrator, I would love for you to be my customer. So check it out, and I hope to see you soon in the upcoming videos. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.